Hello and welcome to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Adam Mackey and Jessy Radfink. This week we have a special guest. He is a husband and father first, but before all that, he served his country as an officer in the Army. He switched careers on more than one occasion and eventually ended up making furniture and making online content. Whether it's giant tables, amazing Lego displays, or bad puns, he likes to say that if he can make it, you can make it too. Please welcome Caleb Harris.
Thank you. I guess that's my intro time to say something. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
It's always weird hearing about yourself. It's like, wow, that's all right. That's me. Cool.
Yeah.
I want to meet me.
Yeah, well, it is exciting to have you on the podcast today. But for anyone who doesn't know you and that didn't give enough of what you do and what what you're here to talk about, why don't you give everyone your elevator pitch about who you are and what you do?
Ah, man, you already covered it. I think the only thing that really bears more time is how bad my puns are. That's definitely a feature. Really, really, really bad dad jokes and oversimplification of everything, which when you break everything down Barney style, kind of lends itself to more puns. But yes, so I was the short version, I guess, of my life story was I was homeschooled, which let me get an early start on things. So went to college at 16 and couldn't afford it. So I joined ROTC and they gave me a scholarship, which was great because then I could stay in college, which gave me a job when I got out of the college, which is great because I graduated in 2008. And I think we all remember how that went. So it was great coming out of college with a job. Did that for 6.5 years. Got out for personal reasons, big divorce and all that. Spent a lot of time with attorneys. And I thought, you know what? Being a lawyer sounds like a great continuation. Went to law school and got really neurotic about halfway through and wanted to get my hands on things, kind of discovered content creation, started playing with that, started my business because, when you're doing a doctoral program and have a 2-year-old and a newborn and a wife that travels 40% of the year for work, starting a business is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
But fortunately, a year and a half later, the business had good enough indicators. My wife's career was going well enough. And of course we'd been talking about it and I was up in the air because it's coming at that time. Like, okay, do I, prep for when I graduate, I study for the bar and then take the bar and do this, or do I just focus on the business? Because why take all that time away from the business if I'm not going to practice law? And she said, well, for what it's worth, I enjoy talking to you a lot more when I come home and you've had a shop day than when I come home and you've been at school. And I said, sold. So, nice. Which is a big guiding principle is just, first and foremost, I'm a husband and father and man. So everything kind of facilitates being better at those, and fortunately managed to land myself in a career that facilitates me being able to take care of myself how I need so I can be the best I can for them. And that also lets me help a lot of other people be better versions of themselves. I like to think providing confidence, knowledge, and inspiration. It's kind of my pitch. I like to, demystify the making process. I think it's really interesting. There was this turning point, I don't know when it happened, of realizing that everything we're around, none of it magically appeared. It's all the product of, not thousands, but millions of man hours of effort, not just labor, but energy that's gone into producing all the systems that makes everything we interact on a daily basis. And I have this philosophy that the only two things we really need in life are food and shelter. And unfortunately, in our society, those are pretty much side thoughts that we give almost no thought or energy to, yet they're the only two things we actually need. And so I like to garden a lot and I like to make stuff. And I'm not saying, everyone needs to give up modern society and go homestead everything, nothing like that, but just grounding yourself and being, familiar with the things in your home that you use every day and being a part of how they're made and a little part of your food. I just think it's good for the soul. It's good for my soul, at least. And so I like to share what I've learned about that along the way.
It's funny you say about not getting out of the modern world and stuff. So my in-laws live in the bush, and before they used to live in the bush, her grandparents went there on holidays and sort of stuff. And they never had internet or anything, and there was never any phone reception, whatever. So every time we went there, we were completely shut off, and it was amazing. We always got that Like we actually hung out and did stuff. And now they got internet there and stuff. And like we go there and it's just not the same as when we used to go there when we were younger. And it's so, I miss that like turning off, even for a day or two.
It reminds me of kind of being a kid when the power goes out and it's out. And then there's that moment of like, oh, you know, whatever we were doing is now interrupted. We got to pull out the candles. But then it's like, oh, we actually like pulled out the cards and board games and actually all got together as a family because there were no distractions anymore.
The only time I've ever played Monopoly with my family was during Ice Storm 98, which was an ice storm that came through like Eastern Ontario and like just like it was a crazy ice storm, and we lost power for like a week.
Oh man!
And it was the only time we played. Like they bought me Monopoly and they wouldn't play with me.
Oh.
Right? Like, and Monopoly's a shitty game. It's one of the worst board games.
It is. Yeah,
it is. It's a horrible, horrible board game. But as a kid, you don't know that, and you just want to play the game. And they wouldn't. And it was Star Wars Monopoly, and I don't even know why they got it for me because I'd never seen Star Wars.
That's amazing.
Anyways, so we wanted to have Caleb on here to talk about kind of like the pros and cons of choosing content creation. And I think even Adam made a great point about like, that's one of the cons of choosing content creation is you're choosing something that then feeds into this society we have where we're kind of like addicted to the internet. And so are you part of like this thing that you're like, I feel this whenever I make a reel every single day. And I just go like, am I part of this problem? Like, I don't want to look at my phone very much, but I'm producing content for other people to do it. And I wondered what are your thoughts, Caleb?
Oh man. Wow. Way to just walk me into a minefield there.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you know, and this is a word or term that gets tossed around a lot, but it's sort of slippery slope, right? Because in and of itself, these are all just tools and is how you use them. But then we also realize that some tools are far more prone to abuse due to just how our brains work and the way dopamine works. You know, there's some tools that lend themselves to abuse, like social media and the internet. But that doesn't mean it can't be used for good. Like, I can't tell you how many. My kids are a great example. My youngest especially is an incredible artist with what he draws and paints and stuff, and he's interested in that. And that has never been my forte. I've even spent intentional time trying to kind of get good at it. But he grew up in a time where I was like, oh, hey, well, let's just YouTube something. It's like, I make YouTube videos. Maybe someone makes YouTube videos about art for kids. Literally, that's the channel, Art for Kids. Yeah. And it's amazing. And it's this dad who's some crazy artist, and he sits down with his kid and walks him through drawing something. And like, they make these amazing things. So, you know, on the one hand is like, you know, we're limiting screen time and have to mess with them, make sure we find a way to regulate that. But on the flip side, it's also like, my 8-year-old learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Like, well, we both did because he couldn't quite get it. So I watched the video and learned it and then helped teach him. But it created this moment where, you know, it facilitated bonding for us. So it's one of those, if you can use it responsibly, it's fantastic. If you don't, well, we think we're all aware of the potential dangers and harms of over consuming social media. But yeah, it's definitely what paradox is what I've been thinking of. It's a little bit of a paradox, like, but I'm in the group of, and this is definitely a group and category, right? Like my job in making videos is not to make a video that makes someone want to watch the next video. I want to make the video that makes you want to turn off your computer or wish you weren't at work and could turn off your computer, you know, and go work on something or solve the answer while you're at work, you know, thinking about, well, I can't wait till I get back out into the shop this weekend, but I'm so aggravated that, you know, my tabletops are never flat or my tabletops are splitting or I don't know how to attach them or how do I get my plane set up or how come I'm just not getting the results off my machines I want. You can have that nugget. So then when you do get out there, you're equipped, you know, you have that knowledge and hopefully you feel a little more confident and inspired to go back out there and tackle that. So,
right. In thinking about the inspiration, I had a message, like a comment on a video today where a guy said, I was able to fix the awning on my trailer because I wouldn't have been able to do it without your video. I just went like those comments are like, they make you want to make more videos, which is like feeding the beast. But I definitely like those are like they're much better than the millions of comments I got on the stupid like hammering silly video. I got, but like this guy was like, I ordered the stuff you told me to order, and it wasn't even like Amazon links. These were just like I gave links to a place I ordered stuff. Didn't get any kickback. The guy ordered the stuff. He made the thing, and he ordered it in a different color. And he said, now it's even better than before because it color matches my trailer. I went, that's amazing. That's
Perfect.
wonderful. I wish I had thought of doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love that. That's what I live for is, the videos that break that down. And I like to do things a little different. Like tool reviews are obviously really huge. And YouTube, everyone does tool reviews, but I always hate the tool reviews. And I'm not a brand loyalist, and I firmly believe that, hey, just get a tool that does the dang job. I suck at tool reviews because I'm like, they're all the fucking same. Like, what's the difference between these things? Do they all spin the bit? Then they all spin the bit. Like, whatever.
Hey,
just
Grant.
use it and go do the job. Sorry if any of you are like deep into tool reviews, but so when
I've never
No,
done
no,
one.
Grant just hates Ryobi.
so like but I've done some like, which tool to buy is how I lure people in, and I did one on nail guns, specifically like finish nailers, and I've gotten so many great comments on that, and a few haters of like, I just wanted to know which brand's better. It's like, well, I told you at the very beginning that's not what I do. But at the end of this video, you're going to know the difference between a 15, 16, 18, 23 gauge nailer, when you want to use each one, a few tips and tricks for each, battery versus pneumatic, how to oil them, what size nails to use, what projects work best in. And then you can go into that store, look at all those nail guns, and find the one best for you.
And I wish I'd watched that before I bought mine, because what I did is I went into the store and I saw one did nails and staples. And I said, well, that sounds amazing because it does both. And I said, instead of buying two, so now every time I do a nail, it has a staple sized like punch hole in it. Because it's got like the hammer that comes down and then puts it. So I really wish I had thought about it. And I've told everyone, and I don't do tool reviews, but I've told everyone who's looking for a nail gun, I say, it's you think this is a great idea, but it's just a staple gun that can also do nails, so it just screws you up.
Yeah, if you want a stapler that can do nails, sometimes get it. If you want a nail gun that does staples, don't get it.
Exactly. And I never use staples. It's all about nails. But I was like, just in case I might want to use staples.
It's funny, you're talking about like the modern world and all that sort of stuff. Like, got everything you said, I could relate to so much. A lot of why I don't post much is because I saw it in myself, but also my wife picked up on it a lot, that I was always on my phone. Like every time I'm doing something, it's like, why are you on your phone? And it's like, well, I need to get pictures, or I need to post, or I need to record something. And like, I'm just constantly on my phone, like addicted to my phone. And even to a point now where I can't get rid of it. My son's doing a project at the moment where he has to research about an animal. My wife's like, all right, let's go to the library. We can hire some books and rent some books and stuff, and you can do your research on that. And I'm just like, just Google it. Like, we don't need books, just Google it. Right. But like, he wants the books. He wants to do the research. He doesn't want to just Google it. It's so weird. Like, I'm glad my son's like that. Like, you go somewhere and he's the kid sitting on the sideline reading a book, not playing on an iPad or whatever. But like, I'm the one that's playing on the iPad, and I don't know. Content creation's definitely thrown me that way.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I've kind of gone the other way with it because of that, because I spent so much time on it. And I think one of the things that helped is my social media has been very business focused, and personally, I kind of detest it. So if you if you're friends with me personally on Facebook, all my posts are just stuff my wife tags me in.
And
never do anything, right?
And politics.
No, you won't. Well, maybe once every other year or so, I might throw out something snarky. But
you throw out something about there's more than two parties.
Yeah. I think I did that one. But yeah, that's my personal. And then I don't even have a personal Instagram. I just have my business Instagram.
I don't have a personal Instagram either.
And a great Instagram strategy I can tell you that I've learned is don't post. Because when you don't post for a long time and then you come back and post, they want to get you hooked again. And so it does really, really well. So if you just never post, your posts will do quite well.
You also, as soon as you post, everyone gets a notification that follows you that you posted.
hey, this guy posted. He hasn't in forever. He's not dead. Go check it out, right? Or maybe he did die, and this is the obituary. I don't know. You should go look. Right?
Yeah. Well, that recently happened.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So yeah.
Poor Kenny.
Yeah. No, it always will be. But
Sure.
but it's all good. Dark humor is good times. So okay, we've talked a little bit about the cons of content creation and kind of feeding this like thing that we all can agree maybe not the most healthy unless used in the responsible way. But what are some of the pros? Because you talked about being a husband and a father first, and part of that we were talking a little bit in the pre-show about it, but something that you wanted to leave your career to prioritize your family. And tell us about that decision-making process.
So, and I thought about this when you pitched the topic to me, and it was really hard to separate, right, pros and cons of content creation versus just pros and cons of being self-employed, if that makes sense. Of course, there's all kinds of versions of self-employment. So, whoever's listening, bear that in mind. I'll try to stick to content creation, but a lot of this just, I think, applies to remote work or self-employment in general.
Well, I think it's actually something that we can go into a little bit later. Of you're not just a content creator, and right. So that's something you have a physical business that I can't like the table guy or something like that.
Yeah. So we can go since you talked about the decision making process, right? So I was in law school, and fortunately, I was able to because I was about halfway through. I'd finished all the we're going to shove all these classes down your throat. Now you got to pick them. So I got to pick all my classes around being a potential content creator. So got to dive deeper into tax, intellectual property law, contracts, all the kind of stuff you want to know if you're running your own business, and some, that were relevant to content creation. Well, to stand up my business, what I realized first off is that furniture is far more lucrative than content, because there's definitely this tipping point with content where you have to have the volume for it to become profitable in any way. Right. And really, it's not even the volume for AdSense, because AdSense, there was a time it was good and now it's not. Sponsors are really where income is, but in order to attract sponsors, you have to provide value, which is really volume. So you got to get enough eyeballs, because why is someone going to, let alone give you something, but actually pay you to talk about that if no one's going to watch it and then no one's going to buy it? That's not a deal for them, which goes into the whole, you get everything for free. It's like, no, I worked for free for 3 years to build up a service that companies want to compensate me for, eyeballs. Is like free would be giving it to you because they get nothing out of that deal. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Who is
what's going on?
Who's watching Shopify?
Who's watching Shopify? Is that Jessy?
What in the world? That was weird. Oh, apparently I hit the space bar and had a video up on it. I thought someone had ironically started playing an ad.
It's now sponsored, but no.
Hey, Shopify's headquarters is in Ottawa, where I'm located.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, if Shopify, if you're listening, which apparently you are, reach out to us.
But yeah, so in trying to figure out,
we won't take you because we have Patreon, so we don't need sponsors.
Yeah. In trying to set up my channel, branding was a big deal, and I decided to go for You Can Make This Too, but I also realized, well, to get this going and to fund it at all, if I can sell furniture, that would be great. So I actually did some trade shows and everything, but I realized pretty quick, You Can Make This Too does not really sell Pay Me a Lot to do it for you. And so I was like, I need a second brand. And so the Custom Furniture Guy is my custom furniture brand. And clearly I like really, really clever, subtle branding. Like You Can Make This Too for DIY videos, and the Custom Furniture Guy for a guy that makes custom furniture. But speaking of, that actually works really great for Google search results, though, because when people search custom furniture and the Custom Furniture Guy pops up, hopefully it helps. And yeah, so my business has generally teetered around 40 to 60%, kind of bouncing between on what year which does better. But it's really far more the commission work that has enabled me to keep going than the content. But they feed each other, because on the other hand, content has also brought me quite a few commissions and has helped equip my workshop, with tools that I don't have to outlay cash for, because I can use all the time I've invested building an audience and turn that capital into tools and equipment. So that's been interesting. And that's kind of why I have the two different brands. But as far as the pros, like just being self-employed and especially content creation and in the DIY is our house is pretty badass in terms of the furniture, right? Because my wife gets to say, hey, we moved, I'd really like a coffee bar just for this spot for a coffee and a dining set and everything. I'm like, that's awesome, babe. I can totally make a video. I can sell plans. It'll probably only take me like 2 years to make it.
Well, it's so nice that you put it out there, because I usually say that's like a weekend project.
Oh yeah, well no,
that 2 years she gets it.
So she knows when I say, oh yeah, that'd take me like a week. I never say when that week is going to happen. That's just keeps like, yeah, I said it was a weekend project. I didn't say it was this weekend.
What you were saying before about trying to differentiate between content creation and business, right? Mm-hmm. Is what I think a lot of people think is a pro, but actually is a con that they don't realize. I think a lot of people think that being a content creator is easy and doesn't take much time, and you just take a couple of pictures, put it up there, and you're making bank. But they don't realize how much time you actually put into it, which you actually have to treat it like a business. It takes a lot of time. It takes like pretty much all of your time to make that money that you're going to make from it.
Yeah, and I haven't put this out anywhere, but the ironic timing of this is due to just that. You're going to start seeing far less content from me for just that reason, because it's a tough content creation, especially, well, any of them, but I'm most familiar with YouTube. Mm-hmm. The unique challenge is the system is always changing, and whether that's there's someone sitting behind a computer bop 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 screwing with the algorithm, as they say, or if it's just machine learning that's always kind of moving with the trends in how people consume content, which content in this form is only really a decade old and super new. So of course it's going to be going through really quick evolutions as we shift from, that's cat videos to people who like, oh, I don't even watch Netflix. I go to YouTube for long form content. Like that's just what I watch.
Yep, that's me.
The end, right? Like movie, what? YouTube, like just that's where I go for content, period. From 2 minutes, that's really long, to, I put on YouTube when I hop on my elliptical or my rowing machine. So I want a 40-minute video. So I want to look for a new video every 5 minutes while I'm working out. That's distracting. Yeah. And so that's always changing, but then your content always has to evolve likewise. And, it can be deceiving when you hop on that homepage and refresh it as many times as you want. And it's always filled with bangers, but YouTube's only showing you the bangers because they have like a year of content uploaded every day or something stupid. It's ridiculous. So yeah, they are filtering down to tiny fractions of a percent of the content that's posted and recycling it. And Veritasium has done some very good videos on this, where basically it's created this ecosystem of sensationalism. In order to be successful on YouTube, you have to be able to do quite a few things. First and foremost, your videos have to be good and engaging. And that in itself is an art form, right? There's a reason why film schools exist, and that's a whole other conversation. But there's a reason why they exist. That is a whole art form that people dedicate their lives to, perfecting how to tell a story. And besides that, presentation is also an art form, how to convey information concisely to someone in a manner that they can understand with no knowledge of their level of understanding coming into a subject, right? That's another art form. And then acting is another art form. And then videography is an art form, and photography is an art form, and storytelling is an art form. So those are all these different skills you have to learn just to make a good video. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how good or even bad your videos are if no one clicks on them in the first place. Right. And that has everything to do with your thumbnail
so much
and title, right? So it's like, And that's why, sadly, there's a lot of really, really good channels and exceptional content that never get seen because they don't know how to package it in a way that is sensational enough to get people to click, which is like, Grant, I remember this is, you tagged me, did a clampmendation on my dust collector video, which is like when I did that video, I was things like, I know, it was one of the rare times, like, I know exactly how I'm going to thumbnail and title this. Is going to be so damn clickbaity. I'm going to hate it, but people are going to watch it and go see how that's performed against all my other videos lately. Right. Like,
so that brings up something I am curious about. How do you keep up with current trends and all the different, sort of visual styles that people are using? Do you consume a lot of DIY content in addition to making it?
I used to. And there's this thing, I think you get burned out on it. I don't think there's any woodworking channels I even watch anymore. Like I've slowly like petered out less and less. And probably because I'm doing like the pull and pull house right now, like Perkins Builder Brothers, they like it's a construction crew that just builds houses and they have a really cool YouTube channel. So I've been watching them and they're about my only YouTube I've been consuming for a while because it's just, and that's also a channel I would love to have because if you've ever been around construction, it's like the shenanigans and the personalities are always so fun and interesting. I would love to do that in a wood shop where you have like a full wood shop with a half dozen crew and someone just really doing like, what they call it, a mockumentary style, like just cameras everywhere doing it. And they kind of do that. Anyway, that's off, but I don't keep up with the trends. I kind of did. So in my evolution, the first thing I did was get an editor as soon as I could, was outsource my editing. I was like, I'm not super great at this. I like my style, but this is the easiest thing for me to outsource, especially because I outsource it remotely to anyone, anywhere. And it would be my biggest time saver because I was really slow at that. No one else can record my videos or be me or plan my projects or should go shopping for me, but anyone can edit for me. So I did that. And then I tried a thumbnail service for a while. That didn't work. But then I brought in a camera guy. And when I brought in a camera guy, I was like, oh, now I can start, because I really enjoy making videos and playing with camera and doing like, recorded effects and in-camera effects and fun montages and all this stuff. And with a camera guy, it was a lot easier to do that. The problem is my channel started dying, and looking back, I didn't realize I got more into making videos I liked that were fun and started making like really crappy videos, and no one told me. I guess they did because they stopped watching. but yeah, looking back, it was like, the sad thing is like, it depends on what lens you look through it, right? Because I watched them like, that's such an awesome video. I really love it and it's fun. But then I'm like, okay, how quick did I get to the point? Did I deliver immediately? How fast were the dopamine hits? What did I teach you? What did you take away? Was there value to the viewer? And how fast?
I feel like I watch a lot of content, but there's a guy that we all know, Bob's Wood Stuff, and he has made some amazing videos that took a long time, and the editing is like cinematic and amazing. Like he did this like Dune wood carving. It's probably one of the best wood carving videos, but I think he like I think this is the same thing you're saying. Like he made a video that he thinks is really cool, and it is, but is it really great for the audience? And I think that's a big thing about content creation that people don't get, is that you're not making videos for yourself. Nope. Because the videos, I subscribe every day. I subscribe to less and less people because I realize I want to watch certain videos. So I subscribe to them, and people who stop making videos that I like, I stop subscribing to them. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's other people out there like me, but I'm not making videos for me because I am very particular. Right. In the real world, I need, you got to make your videos different. And that's probably why I haven't edited a video in months. It's because I don't think I know what would be good.
Yeah. And that's tough because it's like, if you want this to be a career, you need to have a fairly large engaged audience. To have a large audience, you have to make videos for a large audience. And that doesn't necessarily mean be, like a sellout or anything, but you have to come at it from a different frame of mind, right? And this gets talked about at Workbench Con every year, all the time. And I didn't realize I was doing the same thing differently, badly, but like how many small woodworking channels do you hop onto? And the first 3 minutes of like a 12-minute video is, hey guys, sorry it's been a while. Let me tell you about my sick dog, right? And it's like, if we're friends and I just watch this because I like you, that's cool. But if this is the first video I've ever seen on your channel and I came here because you're going to tell me how to make a Moxon vise, right. I don't want you to spend a third of the video telling me about how you haven't made a video in forever, which I didn't even know because I've never watched you before, right? Let alone whatever's going on in your life. Like, just show me how to make the damn thing.
It's actually a really good point because there's a couple of people I watch that have been making videos for years and have a huge following. They can make those kind of videos because they have the people that have been engaged in their life for so long that they do care about what's going on personally. But then like a new person that they've never seen, they don't, like, people don't care about that. Like you said, if you've got that big following, you can do those sort of videos.
Exactly. That makes sense. But, and you can, whether you should is a different story. It just depends on how you want to engage with your audience. But like one of the things I took away is Mark Rober. He made the point years ago that was really good. He said, don't make videos for your existing audience. Make videos always for people who've never seen you before. Because every time you watch one of his videos, you'll realize that in the first few minutes, right? He always introduces himself, but never the same way. And it's always quick and it's always brief and it's always nested in. So it's like every one of his videos is made for someone who has never seen him before. And he's the golden boy.
He absolutely is. And honestly, he is one of the only makers that I actually will watch the whole video and really enjoy it because he puts everything into context and he's not giving you extraneous information. I think that's part of why I am a little weird about YouTube and not as prevalent in watching videos there, is that I feel like people get very personal very quickly sometimes. And I just came here for to see you hand sew some cool stuff. So why do I know all of these things about you?
Yeah.
So, early in my YouTube making, I was like, I don't want anyone to get bored of my channel and unsubscribe. So I'm not going to give away all of my tips in the videos. And every video is going to have one of the tips. And that was my thought of my 100 subscribers are watching every video, right? And they're going to be bored if I tell them the same tip in 2 different videos. And I later realized
different people.
Moronic, because no one is watching. You could say the same tip in every single video, and 90% of the people who watch the video have never heard that tip before.
Yeah, just learn to keep it brief.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know I've talked about them before, but one of the big channels I watch, Sidemen, for the current subscribers, I don't think it just has to be about your personality and your life and stuff. So they're all about making the big video. They want to get new subscribers and all that sort of stuff. And then every now and then they do hide and seek videos. They literally just play hide and seek at a different place. And they because I listen to their podcast and everything, and they always say that that's for their subscribers, not trying to get in new people. Those videos, they're a little bit of a cop out. They didn't have enough time for that week to get everything done or whatever. So we're going to do a hide and seek, but they do those for their current subscribers because their current subscribers enjoy those videos because they're more personal. And I thought that was interesting.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense to, split your content and have your, for the existing audience, the loyal audience, and then for the outreach videos. And I've seen lots of strategies where, you have 3 tiers of projects. You have your hero projects, which not just woodworking, whatever it is, which the big videos that might take months or longer to plan and commit. And then, your quote viralish, which may not be the biggest, but the more, catchy, clickbaity, I know exactly how to frame this, is really going to, instill, beg a question when people see it, they have to have answered, or, make them afraid. And then just the grind for the loyalists to keep them involved.
Well, I mean, to take it back to the maker side of videos and stuff, I know a lot of people used to do it. I know some people still do, but where they'll make a full project, but then make individual videos within that project as well of different things. So it's I made this cabinet with these doors, but then they have a video specifically just on those doors. But then there's a whole video for the whole project where they're not actually going into the full detail.
Yeah. That's what I did with my my trailer restoration video.
Yeah.
Is I think I did like 5 videos that were separate videos on how to do something on your trailer, like repairing the awning, putting a hole in the side to do a cargo area.
Yeah.
Right. I did a bunch of different videos, and then they became part of the full restoration video. And I think that's an interesting concept. But because we're running a little long, well, not that long, but we're running a little long. I wanted to ask Caleb one question before we move on to anything else. Is, do you think in 2023 that content creation is a viable career for the average person?
If you like to eat ramen.
If you like what?
If you like to eat ramen.
Eating ramen.
Nice. Yes.
Well, also depends. So, right. Anyone who asks me, I'll be very transparent. My secret to being successful as a content creator is having a breadwinning wife. Right. But I mean, aside from that, I have had several very, very good years. Right. We live in this house. We're, consumer debt free, own all of our vehicles, and all that has been actually due to commissions, not content. But I have had quite a few lucrative commission or content that's done well. But it can be very, very finicky, like any self-employed businesses. But I feel content creation, especially because I forget who was. I saw a video the other day. One guy who was planning on actually quitting his job this summer and focusing just on whatever product he makes and sells and his content associated with it. But Instagram decided he violated their community services and deleted his account. And that's where like half of his business comes from. And it's just gone.
So in November and December, Facebook was popping off with Reels.
Yeah, and they shut that down.
So the bonus shut down, but I wasn't making money on the bonus. I was making money on ads on Reels, which is still going.
Yeah.
I made $12,000 in 2 months.
Nice.
Which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was enough money that I went, if this continues,
something.
I could think about quitting my job, which I work for the federal government. Like, I might quit money, right? Like, it's a nice, stable job. It's got to be really ridiculous to do it. And then guess what? The last month, I made $50.
Yeah.
And I've been posting every single day. I did nothing changed other than Facebook. The Facebook side changed. Like, they got rid of the bonuses, but that's a whole separate thing. But they stopped pushing Reels and more people saw it, so more people got involved. Right? Everyone saw the amount of money idiots like me were making and went, I'd like to make that money too. So there's more people making content. So it's the same with like AdSense used to be a lot better. It's not as good as it used to be. Well, that's because there's more people making videos.
And there's more people making really good videos and who also have their thumb on that how to get people's attention, like Lincoln Street Woodworks, right? And it's easy to look at these guys and think, I can do it. The thing is, like, for every one of those is successful, there's 1,000 people trying that are just falling on their face. There is you can learn it and they'll help teach you, but there's also just a finesse and talent for it. Not everyone can be a Lincoln Street Woodworks or Bourbon Moth or Black Forest that just, does what everyone else does, but just different enough and knows how to just be sexy enough on that title and thumbnail to get the attention, to get the click, to get them into the good video.
Well, like, if you look at our previous host, Morley, like, I think he quit his job like 3 years before he got a video that popped off that got 1 million views on YouTube. Like, it took him a long time and a lot of iterations, and in reality, it took him like one day he decided, I'm going to do a video every day until I get this. And I think that's what really drove it home. To do this, I need to put 100% effort. I need to sacrifice everything in my life in order to get there.
Yeah.
I kind of get the sort of feeling that instead of making content creation your job and then commissions as a side hustle, it should be the other way around, where you should make the commission business first and then make the content creation your side hustle.
Yeah.
That's the pivot I'm making as soon as this stupid pool is done, I'm going to revamp my commission website, maybe put some ad dollars behind it. Any content I do will have plans associated. And I recently got a Onefinity Elite that has got me excited about CNC stuff again. I've been doing some CNC projects. So pretty much anything you see content-wise from me is going to be have some type of plan or STL or something attached from it, because I don't know how real you guys get with numbers, but I'm always happy to be transparent. I feel like not talking numbers doesn't make sense if you want, because that's what everyone needs to know to make decisions. But we always hide the secret sauce, right? The one thing everyone needs to know, no one talks about. Right. So the last 10 videos I've done, and I like to do this every once in a while to just make myself feel really horrible about my life decisions. But I spent about $2,400 in filming and editing in my last 10 videos, and they have netted me, or grossed, they grossed me $580, and half of that was from one of them that did pretty well. So my last 10 videos have cost me I forget the math on that, like $1,900. Yeah. So my last 10 videos lost me $2,000.
Yep.
Wow.
And if you go back 20 and 30, it's really not any different. And so that's the reason for my pivot. And it's one of those like, fine. And went to Workbench Con this year and got a lot of really good information and kind of took a new direction, cleaned up some stuff, went back and have been taking a different approach with my titles and thumbnails, and have been very happy that I've been able to like increase my average view about 4-fold. And when you do that and realize that, oh great, instead of making like $10 on a video, I'm making 50 and I paid $200 to have this edited. Why am I doing this? This is not a business. This is a really expensive hobby, right?
Yeah.
So
and you have, and we're talking like you have 156,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I'm not a small channel. I have several million view videos, or I have quite a few videos in the hundreds of thousands of views. And that's the things that like it turns into a numbers game. And YouTube, I feel like they're really, really good at this, and knowing like when you're almost out of hope, and then just being like, let's give them a little juice on that one. Like, let's make that like, ooh, let's juice that one, right? Like, you're just like, you know what? Because I'm one of the biggest compliments I've ever been paid was by my wife. I forget what the deal was, but it was a prompt. But she said, I've always been impressed by you, because if you want something, anything you want, you will into being. Like, you say we're going to do the craziest stuff that I don't believe, and you just will it into being. And so I've been really resistant to pivot, right? Which is always the question, especially just in life, let alone self-employment. But I guess just life is, it's like, man, how much easier would things be if you have a crystal ball to know, okay, am I, the lazy quitter that just isn't seeing this through, or the dumbass that doesn't realize he should have already quit?
Right.
Am I the guy lacking persistence to make it to success, or the dumbass that doesn't know when it's time to throw in the towel and do something different? And this time I finally, I've been crunching the numbers hard for a few years. So yeah, definitely making a pivot on content. I'm going to focus more on commissions. Content's not going away. I just, it is a business, not a charity I run for people's entertainment. So I need to make a profit on it.
So I've noticed, I've been following you for a long time, and I've noticed you've pivoted from a lot of projects to a lot of like information videos and how to like get into woodworking videos and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I miss the project videos. Everyone like says project videos are dead, and I go, project videos aren't dead. People don't know how to package them properly.
Yes, it's hard to package them, and they take a lot more time and a lot more money.
Right. And
they're tough.
But I think that's like, did you get big? Look at your biggest videos. Are they project videos, or are they stupid tool review videos? Because they probably are stupid tool review videos.
Yeah, I haven't done many stupid tool review videos. Here's the thing. There's several ways to break this down. I love getting into numbers and doing analytics, and not like, the YouTube analytics, but actually diving into them, compiling them all, and then seeing what's valuable.
Right.
And that was one of my pivots, because like I said, my hard-headedness and want to be persistent and, will my way to success through my, superior intelligence or whatever. One of the things I noticed is that when I took an aggregate and I categorized my videos based off, say, projects, and then I might break that into like shop projects, home projects, beginner projects, first is what I would call informational content. So not necessarily how to, but more knowledge focus. Like, oh, if you were going to walk into Woodshop 101, here's like the first 5 classes you would probably have, table saw safety, dust collection mistakes. But then how do we package that? So, how do we package this so it's sexy and people are going to click? Well, the 2 biggest ways to get people to click is make them have a question that they have to have answered or make them afraid, right? So like one great, and well, I'm going ahead of myself. When I broke my video down to those categories and then started looking at where my top performers are, I realized that by proportion, my informational content averaged far better than my project videos. So it's like, yeah, by and large, like my big hitting videos are project videos, but they represent 0.5% of my project videos. But my steady videos, right? So if I look at the top and then like here's half of my viewership, but spread over a larger video base, that's all my informational content, right? And then all the dead videos are, half the informational and the other 99% of project videos. But when you see that, it makes more sense to be like, okay, well, I can keep throwing projects at the wall, try to get better at packaging them, but I'm killing myself on how long it takes, how much more expensive it is to edit or to edit myself, and then all the material and stuff that goes into it. Or I can just, take an hour, do an outline, spend 2 or 3 hours in the shop recording an informational video, and then throw it out there. And on average, it does better. So that was one of my pivots when I was like, okay, how can I try to save my channel? Because I got to figure out a new approach, or can it, and move on. And Grant, like you, John, that was one pivot. And then projects still get sprinkled in, especially if it's a home project. And pretty much over the last few years, you'll notice that there's far more home projects and less commission projects, because that's also brought a lot of joy back to the process for me, is being able to get in the shop and not run the camera. Because it really does. It doesn't double. It doesn't quadruple. I say it makes, especially filming myself, takes me 5 to 6 times longer, because not only is it just adding all the camera things, it's all the extra time you have to stop and think about, not just I'm making this thing. What's the story? How am I making the story? Am I getting the right things? And I've been doing this long enough to realize I don't want to just record 30 hours of content, because now I'm definitely never going to make my money back on this video whenever I send it to my editor. And not only is he going to be like, well, thanks for giving me a week worth of stuff just to review. What the hell do I make out of it? Right? You can't just give someone a big pile of garbage and say, hey, I gave you enough that there's got to be a good story in here. Go find it, miner. Right? Like that's not viable. And, I don't have editors that want to do that or are into woodworking enough to be able to go find that story anyways. That was one pivot I went through. But to, attract attention, you either got to hit people with a question they have to have answered, or make them afraid a little bit. I found those to be the 2 strongest motivators to get a click. And I hate this, but I've learned that that's a great way to get clicks. So for example, one of my first instructional videos that caught off really well is how to make a flat tabletop, right? But I didn't say 4 best tabletop tips, or how to always make a tabletop, how to make the best tabletop. I said 4 common panel mistakes. Because if I say, I'm going to give you 10 tips, everyone's going to think, oh yeah, I've watched 30 10-tip videos on how to make a table. He's got all the same tips. Whatever. I don't care if I miss a tip. But if I tell you, here's the 4 mistakes everyone makes, you're going to think, I can think of 5. But what if he's got one I don't know?
That's why I wanted.
But what if there's one I don't know? What if they're not always perfect. So there's something I'm not doing right. Maybe he'll finally have that nugget that I keep screwing up. Right. So it doesn't, when I say make him afraid, it doesn't have to be negative, but when you hit that fear factor, right. And we know this well established. My minor was psychology, right. People are far more afraid of losing something they have than gaining something they don't. So I can get you in a video far more by convincing you something that there's something in here you're missing that's messing things up than I'm going to give you some nugget you've never had before.
It's so funny you say that. I watched a video this morning, and it was a motorbike channel, and the guy that was called 5 things that you shouldn't do on the highway. Literally all 5 of them I knew, right?
Oh yeah.
And it was like riding in the blind spot of cars and stuff. But every time he did one, I'm like, surely the next one I'm not going to know. And I watched the whole video thinking that I was going to learn something.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
here's the awesome thing, right? Is you finish that video, thought, well, that was kind of a waste of time, but I fucking aced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, you know what? That's a crazy thing I've never even thought about.
I aced it.
Right. That is the psychology I have never once thought about, but I exactly.
He did another video.
Yeah.
I bet I'm going to ace it too. But all these other dumbasses don't. I'm so much better than them. Yeah.
But
Oh my
it's
God.
funny.
Yeah.
It's actually so true because while I'm watching it, I'm thinking like, yeah, I already do that. Like, do people not do that? Like, that's just common sense, right? Like,
But you've
I'm
seen
actually a pretty
people
good
not do
writer.
it.
Like, I must be good.
Yeah, but you've seen people not
Shit.
do those things, and then you feel superior
Yeah.
because you're reminded.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, you know,
Like,
who
that
is
one guy
superior?
when I was 19, he about ran into me because he didn't check his blind spot, and I was there. Everyone knows check your blind spot. That's right, but I've never done that. That guy, yeah, we got this. Yeah, I'm not that guy.
So you know who else is superior?
You.
Our
Patrons.
Patreon supporters.
Oh yes.
So I want to thank especially our F clamp level. And I think F clamps are like parallel clamps, but maybe we got to have another level above F clamps. Because I saw in your latest video that you were using F clamps instead of your parallel clamps, and you've sold all your bar clamps, Caleb. And you were like, F clamps aren't very good at doing glue ups, and I was like, that's all I use.
It hurt me,
I
but it
think
worked.
F clamps are the best. It worked. I saw you did fumble with them quite a bit, and I went, you just haven't used them enough.
Mhm.
You got too used to parallel clamps.
I did.
Yeah. So I want to especially thank our F Clamp level supporters, Vincent Ferrari from Digitally Creative, Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, Rich from Lowen Designs, and David Wood from DW Wood Builds. They all get access to the pre-show where we had a great conversation with Caleb, and they're going to have access to the after show. We're going to have an even better conversation. So join in there. I also wanted, in the last couple episodes, I talked about we're going to be going to a monthly subscription instead of a per creation subscription, but Patreon has turned that feature off between switching, and they're apparently working on a way to introduce changing from per creation to monthly, and I don't know. Anyways, I've also messaged Jack Conti and said, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" And if he comes on, I'll explain to him how this is ridiculous that I can't switch. But they all get access to the pre-show, after show. They also get access to the Discord server. Everyone gets access to the Discord, but we have a Patreon exclusive chat that we do there every month. And y'all get a leather keychain made by myself. And you can find all that at patreon.com/clamp. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that we are going to be raising funds for us to all meet together in either Maker Camp or Maker Central, because Maker Central makes more sense it's more central to Australia and US and Canada, but Maker Camp might be a thing in October, or Maker Central next year in May. And if you guys all want to see us in person, sign up there, and that'll help us fund those trips, because it is not cheap to leave your house.
Nope.
Not at all. Also, quickly before we move on, our next hangout on Discord is on the 7th at 9 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
Right?
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern.
Right?
Eastern, sorry. What? Sorry. So that's 11 a.m. on the 8th in Australia, Sydney time. So if you sign up to Patreon before then, you can get access to our next hangout.
Yes.
So
you sign
that's
up on Patreon.
3 days after this comes out.
If you go in the Discord, it tells you the time that your time zone is in.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if you
yeah.
go in the Discord, you can find that.
That's handy.
But I'm just saying you have time to sign up to Patreon before the next hangout.
Yes. If you listen to this on the first day it's out. Yeah. And with that, on to CLAMPmendations. CLAMPmendations. Caleb, do you want to go first, or do you want to go last?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
the first time he's actually done that. That actual.
I got it all set up.
Since I've already established I don't really watch YouTube, I just finished, my wife and I finished the finale of Succession last night on HBO Max.
You and Tyler.
And oof, if you haven't started that show, it is amazing. And I think I was most pleased. And this is the first show I've watched in I don't know how long that the ending did not make me cringe. Like, wow, you just punted that one to the intern in the middle of a strike and didn't care how it ended, did you? Like, wow, way to just let everyone down on the worst ending. Like, it actually wrapped up very good. It was so fitting, and just, yeah, Succession, fantastic show. If you have HBO Max, go watch it.
Cool. I'm also going to recommend a documentary on Netflix called McGregor Forever. It's a 4-part series about Conor McGregor, and like, I always thought McGregor was an absolute prick, but watching this documentary, like, he's such a genuine person that actually was just so happy to fulfill his dreams. And like, it's just very inspirational.
Yeah, he is an amazing fighter, but his ring persona is not one I enjoy for sure.
But it is an act.
He's so talented. Yeah, it's definitely an act.
Oh yeah, they're finally getting a little honest about that too. Some people getting upset about, you don't talk about the business. You never talk about the business. Like, it's WWE now. Like, maybe not all rigged, but yeah, it's showbiz, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, if you watch the documentary, like, in real life, he's such a genuine person. Like, he seems like a really nice guy.
So for mine this week, I am recommending a maker that specializes in historic fashion and beauty. Her name is Bernadette Banner. I love watching her videos because she does really deep dives into the history of garments, reconstructs the garments. She does almost all of her sewing by hand, which is really impressive. I mean, it takes days to do one piece for her. Like, maybe it'll just be like the front bodice piece of a dress, and it'll literally be 3 days of hand sewing. And she also doesn't use a motorized sewing machine. She has one with a foot pedal, like one of the old Singer ones.
Oh,
and so it's really nice to watch
Wow.
her sew with that. I had one of those growing up, and it was so much fun. So yeah, if you're interested in history and women's fashion and, the sort of weird stuff we used to put on our face and in our hair, it's a very good channel to go down a rabbit hole on.
That sounds so cathartic.
This looks like the Instagram of someone that works on like the set of Handmaid's Tale or something.
Right?
That's hectic.
She's amazing. Her work is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's sick.
Well, I'm going to recommend everyone go check out Other Dog Designs. He's a former guest on the podcast, and he has recently been finally actually posting some of the amazing 3D prints that he makes. I wish I had said something about it in the last episode where we talked about 3D printing a lot, but he has taken 3D printing to a place well beyond most people can do. And he's finally actually posting about it. So you can actually go check out what he's making. And it is like, honestly amazing what he can take. He can put his little Prusa and his carbon printers, and it blows me away when he posts something. So go check him out. So now we're going to go into the Ask Us Anything, and this question comes from DW Wood Builds. And what is your most used hand tool? And I'm going to throw that one to Caleb first. What is your most used hand tool, Caleb?
Probably my hand hammer. Just when I hit things with my hand instead of grabbing a hammer.
Anything's
Jessy lost her drink there.
Well, because now I have a name for what my partner does all the time.
we just hit something. Yeah, it's the hand hammer.
I just put it until it works.
So I should grab a mallet and just need to bump it a little bit. Shoot, no, that's a good question. Probably, man, so many like combination square or or just carpenter square or plain. Hard to pick. Like, I'd say the 4 I probably use most: combination square, marking knife, a chisel, a block plane. Like, okay. I just grab. It's hard to pick. Like, those 4, like, they stay in my apron now that I have an apron from Leather by Dragonfly. Amazing, beautiful thing. If you're looking for an apron, they do great work. But yeah, those live in my apron, and I'm just always grabbing one or normally in sequence, to do something.
Nice.
Caleb, is that a frog or something, or are you currently on the set of Squid Game?
I promise it's a frog and not me, because I am outside.
Right. I'm like, someone's got a siren going off, or there's something croaking.
Yeah, no, I'm in North Mississippi. There's definitely a tree frog, so I will hit mute when I stop talking.
No, that's fine.
No, leave it on.
It's nice.
Leave
No,
it. Leave it.
It's good to know that is where it's coming from. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mystery sound was my mic. Yes.
Yeah. I would say so. My most used hand tool is probably a speed square. If I were to like be honest, and if I was not being honest, it would be like a block plane. But I don't think that's honest.
If you want
that's
to
the one
sound
I'd like
real
to say.
fancy.
Yeah, that's the one I'd like to say. But I know it's not true. I know I grab it like often, but like I know I'm grabbing my speed square all the time. Like just a cheap Stanley speed square.
I don't really use many hand tools. I mean, my hands are tools, right? So can I say hands?
Hand hammer.
I'd say my most used hand tool would definitely be my Japanese pull saw. Like if I need to cut something quick, I grab that saw. I'll grab that saw before I get any mechanical saw out because it cuts so quick. I don't unless I'm cutting a lot, I'm not going to go through the effort of setting stuff up.
Same. I think a lot of people don't realize how quick hand saws are once you learn how to use them. And they're really not hard. Like in about 10 minutes, you can get so much better with a handsaw. I've got a video on it, by the way, if you want to know. If you've only got to do like one cut, most of the time, like a handsaw is way faster in setting up anything. Machines only speed things up when you're batching. Like,
yes.
So if you're not going to do it 10 times, just grab a hand tool. Yeah.
Or if you need that perfect cut.
Yeah.
And want to spend the time setting it up.
So I think, honestly, it's probably a clear quilting roller. I use those for everything, not just sewing, like for drawing and setting up perspective, or for even like making lines where I'm like trying to make plans and trying to divide the page of my scribbles. Like, I think I probably reach for that the most. Or even hanging curtains, doing stuff around the house. I always have that thing out just because I don't know. It's so much easier to make markings with a clear quilting roller. I don't know why.
That reminds me, I have a 6-inch rule that stays in the top of my apron. And actually, that might be my most used tool because I grab that thing all the time for any measurement under 6 inches, which happens all the time, just doing tiny setups or checking something or the thickness of a material or the size of a joint or, small setups on the table saw or just nudging something over. Like, that 6-inch rule gets used all the time.
You know what? Now thinking about it, my Swiss Army knife is what I grab the most.
There you go.
Out of my pocket. I use it. So the other day in my office, they had set up like this like keyboard tray, but I don't like keyboard trays underneath the like desk. And it was sticking out like 1/8 of an inch. And I was like, this is bullshit. Why is it sticking out? So I pulled my Swiss Army knife out and I unscrewed all the screws. And I drilled new holes with the Swiss Army knife because I couldn't just with the Swiss Army knife. I didn't have the leverage to just screw them in. So I used the drill part of the Swiss Army knife, screwed them back in 1/8 of an inch in, and now I don't catch myself on the stupid keyboard tray anymore.
Nice.
And I definitely they were installing stuff with a drill, but I didn't want them to come over. Like I could have just they had a drill like 2 cubicles away. But I just did it by myself because I didn't want to have to tell them like you fucked up. And
hey, can I fix your shit job?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Being
with
a
that
man,
note,
suffer through it.
I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. I want to thank Caleb for coming out. If you want to tell everyone, where's the best place to find you on the internet?
The internet, yes, I'm comfortable talking about where to find me there. That would be YouTube at You Can Make This Too, or Instagram at You Can Make This Too, or Facebook at You Can Make This Too. And you can also go look at all the tweets I've never posted on Twitter at You Can Make This Too.
And if they wanted to get like custom furniture,
the custom furniture guy, make sure it's,
there you go.
And I'm not like but when I say the, I think people forget the when you say the. So the custom furniture guy, Instagram, Facebook, and which is hilarious because Instagram serves up stuff, and it seems like I'm really bad about posting, as I talked about. So whenever I post some of my commission work on Custom Furniture Guy, inevitably someone in the community is like, "Hey, jackass, Caleb over, you can make this too, made that. You're ripping off his shit." And I'm like, "Hey, it's me, Pete. It's okay.
Oh,
it's me."
That's awesome. That is awesome to hear. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we're gonna head on over to the the after show. See you guys all there.